I'm never finna die. Hold up. Dying like I'm never finna live. Money, love, flows, goes in my soul to the devil. What I'm never finna give him. Pedal with a stick on a pedal of a whip. You can never guess who I'd never settle for a bitch. Boy, you got me fucked up. Cross me, cousin, get your body crushed up. Stop me, cousin, you should probably shut up. Yo, shut the fuck up, man. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? Your boy Knomad here, and today I have a review video. We talking about Godfall, the game that's getting much mixed reviews. Some people love it, some people hate it. As you know, Godfall launched on the PS5 November 12th. So shout out to that, first of all. Made by Counterplay Games, produced by Gearbox. It was the first PS5 game announced a while back, and it wowed a lot of people. I was already sold on the aesthetics of the game, so did it live up to the hype? That is the question. It depends on who you ask, first of all. I didn't rush out to make a review and not thoroughly play the game, because I like to play my games all the way to the end before I have a say-so about a game. You know, 2 hours is just not enough to say like, oh, this game is trash and stuff like that, man. So my review comes a little later. At the time of this review, I played about 80 hours of Godfall. I have it on the PS5 and the PC, so I do notice the differences in the game. So let's talk Godfall. All right, first, the story. The story is pretty much about betrayal. You play as Orin. Orin has a brother named Macross. Macross is trying to become a god, and it's up to you to stop your brother because he betrayed you. So he thought he left you for dead, but you're still alive. Along the way, you get help from this entity called Sanctum, and I can't remember the blacksmith's name, but he doesn't play much of a big role into it, but he's there in the Sanctum with you. So you know, there's your two allies along the way. So you have to beat Macross's generals in his army. So in order to do that, you take all the Ethereum from the generals, you stop Macross from ascending to becoming a god, and you win the game. The end. In Godfall, you have a total of 12 valor plates, and the game gives you the first 2 valor plates, which is the default one, which is Silvermane, and then the second one, which is Phoenix. After you beat the first mission, the rest are unlocked by collecting valor plate cores, filaments, jaspers, and tears, which are located throughout the stages. Each valor plate has a unique perk called Archon mode, and that's pretty much like the superpowers of the game. You know what I'm saying? They all offer something a little different. You know, we'll get more into it later, but pretty much you have 12 of them. It's not hard to collect. It's pretty easy. I got them pretty easy. So, but my top 3 valor plates obviously are Aegis Horn, Mobius, and Greyhawk. I love those 3 plates. Bulwark is a close fourth, you know. Now, the game is not for everyone. The game is for people who like to grind for loot and just want to have mindless fun. And the game definitely capitalizes on that very well. The campaign to me was very short. I honestly didn't clock a lot of hours in the campaign, but I think it's like 6 to 8 hours. But after the campaign, you have a few high-end game options. Like you could do all the way up to like level 50. You can choose to do like the Tower Trials, or you can do like Dreamstones, which are missions you play in the campaign mode that led up to the ascended version of the bosses. So pretty much all the story missions that you did while playing through the game are now a harder version of it. So that's what they call it, the ascended version, and it's actually pretty tough. Level 60, because you only cap out at level 50. So they have level 60 versions that's pretty tough, and Macross was pretty tough at 60. This is pretty much where you farm for better loot, either the towers or Dreamstones. I prefer Dreamstones. I think they drop loot way much better, but some people like the towers, so I don't know. The world is broken up into 3 different realms. You got Earth, water, and air. Visually, these hubs look crazy good. I'm talking about like all the bells and whistles, the lighting on the PS5 is actually amazing. Times that I streamed the game, there was people asking me if this was on PC, and I'm like, nah, this is PS5. And they was like, oh man, that's actually kind of amazing. I'm like, yeah, it is, man. Like, and going back on though, after you beat those worlds, you're able to explore. Like, you finish a mission, it gives you three shrines that you can activate to go collect for more loot. And what you want to do is, like, you know, you go run around pretty much exploring, collecting valor plate cores, filaments, whatever world you're in at the time. You find those along the way. You can use your vision. You can use it, like, it's kind of like Eagle Vision, but it's called Spirit Vision, and you can find like valor plates cores. Also, you find the treasure that unlocks more loot in the thing. The game is very plentiful in loot, chests, and all that kind of stuff, and resources. To me, anyway. I don't know. So, like, the first time I played the game on stream, when it came out, after I beat the first mission, I spent like 4 hours just exploring, killing, and leveling. It was ridiculous. I was just exploring the game. I was in awe of the game. You know what I'm saying? So that's it for like far as the campaign goes and the world goes. Let's talk about the stuff that I liked about the game. The pros. What I like about the game is the production, from the design to the music. I legit love the game music of Godfall. I think it's really, really amazing. They did a really good job in the orchestra and stuff like that. The artwork, because y'all know I like to draw, is simply breathtaking. Oh my god, from the sketches to the renders, they came out legit. Because sometimes you have people who draw a badass sketch, but the render, it just doesn't capture what the artist drew on paper. You know what I'm saying? But these came out perfect. So I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think it is using the Unreal Engine. So shout out to the Unreal Engine as well. You know what I'm saying? The combat is another thing I like about Godfall. It's simple enough to understand what you are doing, even though the tutorials are a little for some people. I had no problems understanding it. The movement to me was a little fine. It was fluid for the most part. There's a small con that I get to in just a moment. But other than that though, I thought it was pretty straightforward, pretty nice. You know what I'm saying? You had like, it's pretty much a simple 4-hit combo string for like light, heavy, heavy. You can do 3 lights and then a heavy. You know, you get your nice attack and stuff like that. So you know, it's not, like I said, it's not deep, but it's enough. The skill tree is straightforward, and the fact that you don't have to spend resources to respec is really, really dope. And you can respec on the fly. So like if you're on a mission already and you have trouble with the boss, you can probably respec and get better stats to help you beat the boss. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense for most of y'all. One interesting thing I can say about Godfall is the story is short, simple, isn't difficult to beat at all, because I beat it on normal. You can really put it on easy and get the same ending, because there's no difference in ending. So if you're not a tryhard or just don't want to like deal with dying over and over again, just put it on easy. You get the same story. I mean, you get the same ending. The lore behind Godfall is really amazing. Not included in the game because it's just a pretty straightforward game. I actually went out my way and I looked up videos about the lore. I think his name was My Name is Biff. He does a real good job of telling the story of Godfall. So it was really dope. So I was heavily invested into the game prior to this, so I know a little bit of the background, you know, for the characters of the game. Now there is cons. Yes, there are cons, there are concerns, just like any other game. It's far from perfect, but it's not as bad as people make it seem. You know what I'm saying? First of all, the things I don't like is no crossplay or cross save for a game like this, where RNG plays a big factor on items. And granted, 97%. I played the game 97% solo, but you know, for a game that has to have an internet connection, there's no public matchmaking for like the quest, towers, or dreamstone missions. You have to have friends on your list to do co-op missions, which I find kind of odd. I think they should definitely online matchmaking, because that would help it a whole lot. I mean, some people like to grind the endless towers, you know, whatever. Like I said, I did 97% myself solo, so it's whatever. And the times I did play with my friends, it was a little confusing on some of the puzzles. It was really weird, and some of them actually glitched out a little bit, but we figured it out. Also, with this being a requirement to always be online, there was times I was in the middle of a mission or a boss fight and I would lose connection and I would have to start over. I lost the loot that I obtained. I was like, it's a little frustrating, but being that the boards aren't too long, I kind of gave it a pass. But that's something that should definitely be addressed, you know what I'm saying, because that's not a good look. If you have to be online and you lose your connection for some reason, now you have to start all over, or you possibly lost your loot. Another thing, on the PS5, there seems to be an issue when picking up loot. Like the game would literally stutter, causing major frame drops. There's been times in multiple mobs in a fight, I run across loot, I will legit die because of frame drops. This doesn't happen on PC version. Yes, I have the PC version, like I said earlier. So I think a little optimization definitely can fix that issue. Small gripe with the combat. When I say I love the combat, but this is the small gripe I was talking about with the combat. Not much, but there's a little more of a nitpicking thing to me, to be honest. I would like to see animation cancel. I mean, like, I think that would have been dope to be able to swing, cancel out, because there's been times where I'm swinging in like a light swing combo and I can't get out of it, and I see the move about to happen and I can't cancel out of it. So I get whacked and you get knocked back far. For like using dual blades, that's kind of terrible, because dual blades have to charge up to use their northern attack. So I mean, the northern order is southern attack. So I mean, me getting knocked back and I can't animation cancel to get that build up kind of does suck. You know what I'm saying? And it seems like every boss has a move that interrupt your moves. You don't have anything to interrupt a boss move. I guess if you hit the weak point, if it pops up at the right time, but it's very far and few. I think the long sword northern technique has a small window for like invincibility on it, because I have been times where I activate at the right time and it kind of does go through like most attacks, but sometimes it doesn't. But if I think it just has a small window of invincibility on it though. So I understand the concept of a looter shooter, or in this case a looter slasher, but the end game is just stronger versions of the missions and bosses that you played throughout the story already, with not much variety added. So I mean, for some people you're gonna lose some there. Me, I like it. I mean, more health. I mean, it's more health and maybe a small mechanic tweak to the boss, and that's about it. I mean, like for example, I think the first boss, Solaris, he's pretty simple, but I think when you play him in the Ascended version, he has this orb, sun orb above him that attacks also, and it really interrupts a lot of you trying to hit his weak point, so you can't attack his weak point. So it made the match kind of hard. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, games like Diablo, Destiny, Division are similar. Once you beat the game, you clear harder versions of the stages you just played. I know Diablo has procedural generation and stuff like that, but hey, I'm just saying it's still pretty much the same thing. You're playing the same story, same boards you played when you play in the story, just a harder version. That's about it. I think if it had more stages, it might have been a little different. I would say hard mode on some bosses will make you scratch your head like crazy, like legit. I was playing I think it's Lunar. That boss jumps all over the place, and on hard he's just all over the place with 50 million orbs all around, and the ads that he creates, it's, oh my god. It was frustrating, but I beat it. But it's okay. I mean, I do like the fact that you do have checkpoints on the bosses. So like on above the health bar, there's like a white triangle. So once you get to that point, you can always go, you can go right back to them and start from there. You don't have to start all the way over. So that's a good thing, man. It makes the headache a little bit easier, but still at the same time, it's like, oh my god, bro. You know, it's whatever. So alright, so that was my con. So let's just wrap this up. For the people that know, the ultimate goal of a looter is to get the best loot, and that means grinding the levels over and over to get the best stats or the god roll on the item. You know what I'm saying? So they're like I said, 12 valor plates that I may or may not grind for separate weapons for it. It depends, to be honest. I mean, like my attention span sometimes goes out the window, but it'll keep me entertained for a while. Like I said, my 3 favorite are Aegis, Mobius, and a Greyhawk, and I'm working on 3 different sets for them alone. I don't want them sharing anything, but I'm thinking they're gonna have to share weapons, so we'll see. I mean, because of stats and stuff like that, Mobius is a curse based damage valor plate, while Greyhawk is more of a shadow build type. I didn't like the design of Hinterclaw, and he's a crit base, in which the game is really all meta right now is currently revolving around crit, and he has a +5 stat, which is actually really good. So for some people games like this would not be for them at all. For people like me, it's perfect because I like looters. So the story was fine for me. The lore behind it, I watched the videos, super heavily invested into it. But for the casual outside looking in, the story might seem shallow, and it just scratches the surface. Things I would also like to note that I hope that public co-op becomes a thing, to add crossplay between PC and PS5 now and then with Xbox, if the Xbox comes out, because there was a thing saying console exclusive until such and such. So hopefully there's an Xbox version, then we get like a full like cross-play all systems, and that'll make it the game last a little bit longer, and maybe cross-save. I don't know, please. Thank you. You know, I hope there's like raids in the near future to help prolong the end game, because granted, I love looters, I love mindless hacking and slashing. I'm not even gonna front, I do. But eventually I too do get burnt out, and there are other games to play as well. So if nothing's not added in like a nice time frame, I'm pretty sure I won't be clocking as much hours as I want to. Right now I'm currently going through my PC gameplay right now, because like I said, I have it for PC. I want to max out on PC as well. The PC version still looks superior to the PS5 version. Feels more smoother than the PS5 version as well. So I'm not sure if the PS5 is actually hitting 60 consistently, but there's times where it's like, most times it's mostly smooth, but sometimes it does dip a little bit. PC so far, I haven't had that issue, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully all this can be fixed with patches in the future. I'm not a dev, so I don't know what can be done with a patch. With patches, or they have to like push out a different version or something like that. You know, small things like that. And I think the game would just be fine. Would I recommend the game? Yes and no. For the hardcore looter players that have to have their characters decked out, absolutely yes. For the casuals, maybe wait till it goes on sale. You know what I'm saying? 70 is a lot of money, and there's a lot of other games out there that you might want to play. You know what I'm saying? I mean, granted, there are all other single player games out there. Once you beat them, you don't do much after that. But, you know, if you're a casual, you just want to beat the story. The story is not $70, 6 hours, might be a waste for you. Now, for people like me that are hardcore, that like looter shooters, definitely spend the $70 for it. And I'm telling you, that's it. Now, I don't do ratings as far as like, I'll give this a 7 out of 10 or something like that. Just know that the game is good to me because it's my review. My opinion. There's other people out there that have their own reviews and stuff like that, and that's it, man. So I hope y'all enjoyed this. Like, I think this is my first actual true in-depth review. I can work on some stuff, I know that. You know, just I'm glad y'all was here listening and watching at the same time. So until next time, it's your boy Knomad, and I'm out. South Cac, we in this thing.